Okay, so out of the 4 grouts that we just looked at, today we're going to be discussing my personal favourite. So this is the Kerapoxy Easy Design from Mapei. Designed so your life is easy, does everything that it says on the tin. So I'm going to show you the contents inside. I'm also going to show you exactly how we knock it up. You want to be knocking it up for about 2 to 3 minutes in order for the product to work and do exactly what it should. So let me just pop open the lid and show you what is inside. Nice and easy to take that off. Inside we have got 2 separate things. We've got the hardener and we've got the filler beneath it. There's more filler than there is hardener, but these 2 need to be knocked up together, and it is essential that you empty all of the contents from the hardener into the filler. But before you do that, we're going to quickly give the filler a nice little whisk to get that consistency going before we add that hardener. Otherwise you might find yourself in a little bit of trouble. So we're just going to stand up and do that. Clamp it with your feet if you have to and start whisking that up. It's nice and soft with the material in there, so it's not too bad. Some tilers would say this stage isn't essential, but that's kind of up to you to decide, but we advise you that you should do this. Okay, that's it. Give that whisk a little spin at the end. Tap on the bucket, because if you're tiling a nice bathroom, you're not going to want any of that content on your floor. Okay, now we're going to move over to the hardener. Let's pop this open. You do see some products come as a 2-part. This is one of them. It's almost like a sort of waxy type material, consistency, nice and easy to get out. But one bit of advice which I have learned from this product is you must make sure you empty the complete contents of this bucket in there. Otherwise it's not going to work the way it should. All right, so we're going to take our time with this stage, empty out the whole thing. I don't know if you guys can see that, how much I'm emptying out that bucket there. Really making sure I've got everything out. A little bit on the floor, that's going to happen. Good job we give this floor a little sweep earlier. Okay, there is nothing left in this bucket, so I've emptied the whole thing out now. And it is now time to stand back up and give the whole thing another whisk. So you want to be doing this for about 2 to 3 minutes, all right? No shorter than that. You don't want to invest in the Rolls Royce of grout, mix it up for too little and then mess it up. It's the most important part. Okay, one little tip, we're not done mixing yet. One little tip is what you're going to notice when you mix in is some of the hardener is not going to be fully in there, so just give that bucket one nice scrape, clean it on the edge, back of the bucket trowel, in we go, and then you carry on for another couple of minutes. Just can't believe how easy this is using this product. Everything's in one tub. You knock it up in the same tub. You've got everything there in the palm of your hands. Easy to maintain, easy to apply. What more can you ask for if you're looking for a good job? Okay, so you've just watched me knock up my Kerapoxy Easy Design grout from Mapei. It took me a couple of minutes to make the mix, and now I'm ready to apply it onto these tiles. So we made this little sort of template of tiles yesterday, which you can see in front of me. So what we're going to do is just going to start taking it out, not bundles of it, but just enough so you can start moving that around into those joints. So this stuff is really good. So if you're not a big fan of maintenance, once someone's come in or you've done some tiling and you've grouted your bathroom, or wherever you've got any tiles in your kitchen, you don't really like going back and scrubbing off all that mold which does accumulate over time, this is probably the grout that I would recommend to you. The epoxy in it, it's got a wonderful formula which basically makes it mold resistant and lasts for a hell of a lot longer than the other stuff. So look, we're just going to keep applying this in, a little bit more out the bucket. Sometimes you can work it the other way if you really want to speed things up. It really depends on how you work and your style. But this is definitely not a fast process. You want to make sure that your joints are full. Now, in terms of working with this product, you've got about 45 minutes after you've knocked it up to do what you need to do. So we knocked ours up about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes ago now, and it's actually really nice and easy to work with as opposed to those older epoxies, which seem to have a little bit of a bad reputation, but things have changed since then. It was a long time ago. So this product is actually just the same as using a normal grout, in my opinion, if not easier. So I'm just going to work that in. Starting to get a little bit of a stiff wrist, but that is something you're going to get with any manual labour or anything that you're up to. Just making sure you fill in all of those joints. Doesn't matter if it's a bit messy, it's going to be. That's why we're going to clean it off after with a particular kind of sponge, and then another sponge, and then a cloth. So stay tuned for that one. We've got some cleaner lined up here as well, which we're going to use if you do want to get that perfect finish. I would recommend it. If you're investing all that money in tile, all that money in grout, you're going to want to come back into that bathroom in 3 years' time and go, it looks exactly how it did when I first done it. Move that out of the way. Okay, we're nearly there. We are on the last row. Sometimes you're going to want to change direction when you're grouting. Maybe one tile was a little bit higher lip than the other. You need to switch it up. Just make sure that the joints are full. It's basically what we're doing. Okay, that's me done. Give it a quick one over everywhere. Take off any excess. Always coming on the diagonal. Not taking anything out of the joints, just taking those big lumps off, as you can see, off the face of the tile itself. Okay, now it's ready for a clean. Okay, so now I'm going to use this abrasive pad. You can pretty much pick these up anywhere. This is going to be a really good way of removing the top layer, and I'm going to move on to a sponge. A little bit of water in here. I'm going to go straight on. Now look at that, it's already going to work. Nice circular motions over the whole tiled area which you're cleaning. Oh, I cannot believe how well that pad is working, actually. That's doing a fantastic job, and it's leaving a really nice finish through them joints. So this would definitely be my pick of choice over a sponge if I was going to be using this particular grout itself. Tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip it over, just give it another one. I might actually sort of remove some of that excess water as well, so when I come to sponge, I've got less sponging to do. So there we go, that's that done. Now we're going to move on to the sponge. I'm going to wring that out as much as possible. Now, 45-degree angle coming all the way through. Doesn't matter what way you come, but you just want to remove all of that water left over from that abrasive pad that we just used. All right, that's that done. Quickly rinse it off. And just come back the other way. It helps just sort of get that grout exactly where it needs to be. Now that's looking really, really nice. Okay, we're going to let that dry for a minute or two, and then we're going to come over it with a cloth and the spray. This is really good, the Kerapoxy cleaner. It does give it that perfect finish at the end of the job. It's not an absolute must, but if you do want things to look how they should, I would recommend giving this a spray and a quick wipe. Okay, so if you do want your finish to be perfect, you should check out the Kerapoxy cleaner from Mapei. Really good stuff. Give your tiles a light spray all the way over. You're kind of waiting for that sort of film over your tiles. Once you've done the grout and clean it off a few times, you're going to have a slight film over your tiles. Using the Kerapoxy cleaner really is a finishing product. So, nice circles. You want your grout to be sort of dry enough in order for you to do this where you're not smudging anything around. We're just using a normal cloth, but a fibre cloth would be better. You can see that buffing up quite nicely. I might give it another light spray, nothing too crazy. Flip the cloth over, and now it's really starting to shine. Look at that. So if you are looking for that perfect finish on your lovely new tiles, I would recommend checking some of this stuff out. Really, really good. Just give it a last little polish. You might even want to leave this for a minute or two, give it another one. It's really down to you. But from what I can see, that's a pretty perfect finish after a couple of sprays.